Well, my memories of the festival are great. Wonderful time in Kilchima. As I said earlier, we set out to make sure that everyone enjoyed it, and particularly the children. And every evening on the streets and in the square and in the playgrounds, we had some type of competitions for the children from 6 up till 11 or 12. It sounds ridiculous in this day and age, but we had competitions for skipping, orange eating and peeling competition, crisp eating, tricycle racing. I don't think you get away with those nowadays, but the kids really enjoyed it. One of the big things as well was we had a Bonnie Baby competition. That obviously caused a certain amount of friction at times, but it was very successful. We had a singing pub competition, a quiz competition in the pubs, but one of the big events was the fireworks display, which we became famous for. And during that time, of course, that period, that was the time of all the troubles in the north, when the IRA decided they were going to unite the country by force, which didn't work. I'm being facetious now, but we had a problem getting in fireworks. But one of our very good workers, Joe Gilmartin, who was Joseph Gilmartin, God be good to him, he went to school with Desi O'Malley. He went to college with him, and Desi was minister for something or the other in the government, Minister for Defence actually. So Joseph made contact with him, and we got a special licence to bring in the fireworks. Unfortunately, one year there was a strike at Liverpool docks and we couldn't get them in. And we had to dispatch a car and trailer over to Southampton to pick them up. And that happened. Michael John Joe was involved in that, and I can't remember who else. I think Thomas Carroll. So, as I said, overall it was a wonderful occasion, and it kept put Kilchima on the map. And despite late hour drinking in pubs and everything, there was never any hassle. People were very, very good humoured and good natured. One of the other big things around, of course, during the festival was a local donkey derby down in Alt Welch's field. And that was great crack, because most of the farmers at the time had donkeys, and you know, they entered it and the spirit of the thing was good. And there was a prize fund of around £80, which, you know, was a lot of money in that stage. So, you know. So what kind of events I do? Well, as I said earlier, we tried to ensure that the kids had plenty to do every night, which they had. As I've already said, all about balloon blowing, orange peeling, crisp eating, tricycles, skipping, you name it, we had it. But some of the other events we had actually a fella, and we had to pay all these guys. He drove blindfolded from the church down as far as Aidan O'Hora's corner. He did that on a Sunday afternoon, and the only guide he has was a fellow walking in front of him who, with a series of whistles, he was able to direct him. And another time we had parachutists that took off from the airfield in Castlebar. Again, we had to pay for this, and they dropped into the park. And it was very funny. John Creighton and myself and another man who shall be nameless, God be good to, were lying out in the grass, and the plane flew over, and they dropped a few false parachutes first, just to test the wind and whatever, and obviously to have a bit of a show on. So eventually the three parachutists jumped themselves, and the man who was lying beside myself and John Creighton, he said, well, I'd swear to my God there's men slinging out of them things, which there was. Obviously they landed safely. We let off a hot air balloon another time from the park, and the idea was it would travel towards Kilkelly. That was, the wind would take it that way, and there was great excitement. But it never got past Johnny Lydon's. It came down right behind Johnny Lydon's house. Something happened there. But those are the things that they drew great crowds. Another time, there was a fellow called Hayes from Tipperary, and he was prepared to be buried underground for a fee, substantial fee. And we had him booked, but he was to be buried 6 foot underground in an actual coffin with an air vent for air and a battery operated telephone to keep in touch with the Bob. But he needed 8 able-bodied men who, in case of emergency, would have him dug up in 5 or 10 minutes. We couldn't get volunteers. They were all afraid of what might happen to the poor man. So that's one that escaped us. We never got around to doing that. But delete. Well, of course, apart from the entertainment for the kids and everything, and the pub entertainments, the dance hall was going very well at the time. The year we started the culture, the dance hall was owned by a crowd called Associated Ballrooms, and we had done a deal with them, and they gave us a percentage of the profit for the dances. But then 3 local men, myself included, and John Creighton and Christopher, we bought the dance hall and we renamed it the Crystal. And that drew great crowds. There was dances every night. There was dances for 11 nights on the trot with Joe Dolan, Big Tom, Dickie Rock, you name them, all the top bands. And that drew huge crowds to the town. And some of them, we actually used them to open the cultures, like Bruce Shields. We made him an honorary culture. We made Joe Dolan an honorary culture. And I think Dickie Rock, I'm not quite sure of that. But we made them honorary cultures, and they came and they opened the festival. And as I said, the dances brought a great crowd to the town. Made a few bob for us as well, thankfully. And it also, they as a business, like all the other businesses in town, I've said it earlier, they were very generous in their donations and help to the committee. That's all, Dick, I can think of at that. Well, you asked me who was involved, Declan. It's a very dangerous thing to go naming people, but I'll do my best. I'm sure to leave out people. As I said, initially the idea started with the GA, and it was the officers of the GA who were initially involved. It was John Creighton, John Cardle, Aidan Cardle, and myself. We were the officers at the time. And then, of course, there was great help from the likes of Jerry Welsh, John Roney, Aidan O'Hora. John Cronin was a wonderful worker. Ask him to do anything, and he'd do it. And the women of the town, the late Peg Gilmartin, God be good to him, my next door neighbour here, my sister-in-law. She was great too. And they did any work. All you had to do was ask people, and they would do it. And unfortunately, an awful lot of them are deceased now, the likes of Chris Foley, Joe Mulherden, PG Gilmartin, Cahill Gilmartin, John Cronin, great workers. As I said, anything you wanted done, just ask them and they'd do it, and you knew it would be done. You know. Well, as I said earlier on, the GA initially, they started the culture, no doubt at all about that. And, you know, people have asked, has it been of any benefit to us? It was a great benefit to it, because we had the McFadden's amusements year after year after year down in Altwelsh's Field. There was chairplanes and swinging boats and a game called Pongo. It was before bingo started, the same system. You threw balls into little holes and you won prizes, and dealt stalls and raffles and all kinds of things. And we made huge money out of it. We used to be down there till 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning. And as I said, that was the GA's take out of it down through the years. And it certainly gave us a great start up when we were developing Gilmartin Park.